Hey folks, JD here, and today we're going to look at the video of the Mavic Mini, and we're going to look at some edited, unedited video as well as the quadcopter modes. So let's begin. Before you start taking photos or start recording video, you have to tell the quadcopter what it is that you want to do. So click above the little shutter button, you'll have a little rectangle, click that, and then as you can see you have a couple of video and photo options. So as far as photo goes, you have a single shot or timed shot. And if you want to record video, you click on the video button, and then you have 2.7K with two particular frames per second modes, which is 25 and 30 frames a second. So all of the video you're going to see in today's video is all recorded at 2.7K at 30 frames a second. If 30 frames a second if 30 frames a second isn't what you want, you can downgrade that to 25. If you wanted a higher frame rate, then what you can do, you're not going to be able to achieve that in 2.7 unfortunately yet. You are though going to be able to achieve that in 1080p. So you can click the little 1080p icon, and that then gives you four modes: 25 frames, 30 frames, 50 frames and 60 frames a second. Personally, if I'm ever recording 1080, I will always record 1080 at 60 frames a second because I love the fluidity. I love how smooth and just how next level that video looks and feels. It really does look and feel terrific. So if anything is ever recorded in 1080 with me, it's always recorded at 60 frames, no doubt. If that's not something you want, you have those other 3 frame rate options there as well. Once you've chosen exactly what options you want, then you can move on to the next part, and that is to hit the shutter button on the app or hit the shoulder button and start recording. Once you start recording, then this is the video output you can expect from the 2.7 30 frames a second mode. Now this is in mode P, in position mode, not in cinematic. As you can see, it's not slow enough to be in cinematic. It's a little bit too quick. The one thing I notice is, even though the video output is very nice, obviously my motions aren't very smooth. That's why you're going to be seeing a lot of jerky motions out of the quadcopters, turning left to right and right to left. But all in all, the output from this particular quadcopter, from this particular video, which is recorded directly onto my Class 10 U3 SD card, looks really nice. Okay, it's a little bit grey here and there. I am flying over dead trees, but at the same time, the grass looks good, the density looks good. You have the different definitions of colour there. From the green, you have you can definitely see the outline of the path. You can see that there are black and brown markings there. You can see that the hay and how that has all dyed back to brown. You can see everything just looks really crisp and really clear, and I really like that. That's one thing that DJI hasn't let me down on so far, and that is video. And so far on the Mavic Mini, it hasn't let me down on that either. Even as I get close, there's no blurring, there's nothing. It just looks really nice, really crisp. If you did want to edit this, and if you did want to add a bit more colour, then what you can do is you can do exactly what I did. Now if you're looking at the left-hand pane I've edited, I have made the shadows darker, I've colorized it and made the colors sharper. I've also made the colors pop a little bit in certain areas, more to do with the green, and as you can see, that makes a hell of a lot of difference when compared to the same footage which is not edited on the right hand side. Now wait until we go over the grass, then you're going to see a definite 100% difference. So no longer do the trees all look grey. You can see that some of the bark looks red, some of the bark looks brown, some of the bark looks grey, but look at that grass. Absolutely stunning. And this was quite literally 5 minutes of editing in iMovie to produce this. That is it. Didn't take a lot, but of course the output just speaks for itself, I think. If you wanted to keep it as it was, just not edited, again, doesn't look terrible, but you haven't got those different pockets of colour. I don't think. It's not that easy to see. And especially that grass, I think the colours are just absolutely hypnotic. And as I say, that's just 5 minutes of work. Now on to the quadcopter 3 speed mode. So at the time of making these videos, we have 3 speed modes. We have mode P for position mode, we have mode C for cinematic, and mode S for sport. Now position mode, I consider this to be your boggo standard default mode for just wanging your quadcopter around the field. If you were doing this, as you noticed in my video that I've just shown you in the side-by-side comparison and in a solo video, you are going to notice, exactly as you can see in this video, that there is some jittery and there is some jumping around on the corners. Now, if I was a little bit slower and if I was a bit smoother with my actions on the analog sticks, then I can get that video really, really smooth indeed. But because I'm just having a bit of fun with the quad, I'm seeing what I can do. I'm doing a few spirals, I'm seeing how quickly it can turn, I'm seeing how the air brakes activate. I'm looking at how the quadcopter moves, if it wobbles too much on cornering. I'm looking at so many different things that I'm just having fun, just wanging it around and seeing exactly as it goes. So mode P, I do consider that to be your default mode for just flying your quadcopter around. Yes, as I say, nice video output can be achieved, but you have got to be a lot nicer than what I am being currently on the sticks in this particular mode. Next mode is Cine Smooth. So this is your cinematic mode. To change the mode, just click up where you see mode C up in the top left, click that and you can cycle through the 3 modes. Now look at the difference of Cine Smooth. You have that beautiful cinematic movement that I didn't have in the previous videos. The other ones were quite erratic, they were moving quite quickly. You could still see that the 3-axis gimbal was doing its job, but still, it really didn't give you that really smooth gliding feeling that you're getting right here. Cinematic mode is limited to 8 meters per second in speed, so your copter isn't going to go any quicker than that. So if you have got any issues with high winds, then A, I would consider not flying, and B, I would consider leaving it in mode P or mode S to ensure that if the quadcopter was to get taken by a sudden gust, then you can pull back out of it. I have flown mode C only up to 14-15 mile an hour winds, and I found that it's okay there, but I haven't flown at height, certainly not this height, at 14-15 mile an hour winds, as you saw in the flight test the other day. Now, what I like about mode C the most is just how absolutely flawless it makes everything look. As far as the smoothness, everything is the same. The copter turns at the same speed as it goes forward. The only downside I can find, and again it's probably down to my stick action, is that jerking on the corners. If I had a bit of a nicer movement, then I'm sure I could get out of having that jerkiness on the corners. But I just love how this speed just stays exactly the same throughout the whole of your cinematic flight, meaning even if you're looking at something that looks as desolate as this, you can still see that it looks really nice, and you can still, at least I think, and it certainly does add another element, it being that smooth. And the final mode, which is mode S, sport mode. Now you can get some nice footage in sport mode, but at the same time you're not going to get that cinematic feel. The copter does do up to 27 miles per hour, 25 miles an hour, sorry, in sport mode. So your movements, as you just see there, are going to be quite quick. They're going to be quite erratic. They're not going to be as smooth, unless of course you make them smooth on the throttle. Here I'm not at all. and I'm sure it comes across. The way that I would look at these different modes and the way that I use my other quadcopters and my other DJI quadcopters in exactly the same. P is always position, that's your default BOGO standard. Anything that you want to record to either give to somebody video wise, or anything that you want to sell, then it's definitely in cinematic, if cinematic is required. If you want a nice quick movement across some water, you can get some nice ripples and some nice effects from using sport mode. Sport mode has its place, but not, I don't think, for your standard recording mechanism. Now, what do I think of this overall? Well, as a very brief recap, I'm very happy with what the Mavic Mini delivers from a video standard. It is not in any way, shape or form professional quality, and it's not DJI don't want it to be. It's not meant to sit inside that bracket. Good God, if you wanted to sit inside there, buy a Mavic Pro, a Mavic Zoom or whatever, that is your more professional level. And still, if you want ultimate professional, look at a DJI Matrice, or some Matisse or something along those lines. This Mavic Mini is meant to be a backpack slinger, so you whack it in a backpack, you go out to the beach or you go out to some secluded area and you fly around there. It's great for me, or it's great for the park that I've got around by work. I can fly around there during lunch times. It's nice as a bit of a disconnect. Also, that's, I think, what DJI are aiming at. All their marketing seems to say parties, outdoor, having fun. It's your pocket copter in the air. That's quite literally what it's meant to be. So taking all that into consideration, I'm extremely happy with what this delivers, because it doesn't only make it affordable, it makes it light enough, it makes it easy enough, it makes it durable, and it also makes it convenient. All that together, I think, is just a massive tick in the box for DJI. Of course, I want to see them do more with it. I don't want to see them just leave the camera there. I want them to upgrade it. In an ideal world, it would have been nice to have a 4K camera, but quite literally 2.7. It's above 1080. I'm much happier with that than I would have been with just BOGO standard 1080. I think they've gone the next level. Now I'm hoping with the Mavic Mini 2, if that should come out, that they're then going to raise the bar a little bit further and do 4K. Unless, of course, this is the Osmo Pocket, as I first said, the Pocket camera rather, in which case, if it is, it might just be firmware locked to 4K. I suppose we'll have to wait and find out as time goes on, but so far I'm extremely happy with what they have presented here. Alright then, my friends, thank you ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and ring that bell too. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time, my friends, happy flying.